On October 11, 2025, the world lost one of Hollywood's most beloved and unique talents. Diane Keaton passed away at age 79 from bacterial pneumonia at St. John's Health Center in Santa Monica, California. Her death came suddenly and unexpectedly, shocking friends, family, and fans around the world. Diane Hall was born on January 5, 1946, in Los Angeles, California. Her father, Jack Hall, worked in real estate and civil engineering. Her mother, Dorothy, was a homemaker and amateur photographer who once won a local Mrs. Los Angeles pageant. Watching her mother on that stage sparked something in young Diana's desire for the spotlight, for transformation, for art. The Halls were not a Hollywood family. They were ordinary people living ordinary lives. Jack was half Irish through his mother's side, and Dorothy raised their 4 children in the Methodist faith. Diane was the eldest child. Creativity was encouraged in their home, but fame was never the expectation. Yet Diane was different. By high school in Santa Ana, California, she had thrown herself into every singing and acting club available. She starred as Blanche Dubois in a school production of A Streetcar Named Desire, a challenging role that required emotional vulnerability most teenagers couldn't access. But playing broken, complicated women felt natural to her after graduating. In 1963, she enrolled at Santa Ana College and later Orange Coast College to study acting. But classroom instruction wasn't enough. After just 1 year, she made a decision that terrified her family. She dropped out and moved to New York City to become an actress. New York didn't welcome her with open arms. She was just another girl, with a dream in a city full of them. Manhattan in the mid-1960s was crowded with aspiring performers competing for the same handful of roles. She enrolled at the neighborhood playhouse to study her craft, to pay bills. She moonlighted as a nightclub singer in small venues where nobody knew her name. There was one problem. When she tried to register with Actors Equity, another Diane Hall had already claimed the name. So she took her mother's maiden name, Keaton. Diane Hall became Diane Keaton. The rejections piled up. Audition after audition ended in silence. She was too quirky, too nervous, too different. The industry wanted polished perfection. Diane Keaton was anything but. Casting directors saw her awkwardness as a liability. They didn't yet understand that her nervous energy would become her greatest asset. Still, she kept showing up. She kept auditioning. She kept believing that somewhere, somehow, there was a place for someone like her. In 1968, Diane landed a role in the ensemble cast of the Broadway musical Hair. It wasn't a starring role, but it was a beginning. She was a working actress. Now, the following year brought something even more significant. Woody Allen was casting his new play. Play It Again, Sam. He needed a romantic lead. Diane auditioned and got the part. The chemistry between them was immediate and electric. She earned a Tony nomination for her performance. More importantly, Skia found a creative partner who understood her. Their professional collaboration would span 8 films. Key film, their personal relationship would become one of Hollywood's most talked about romances. But before Woody Allen would make her a star, Francis Ford Coppola would make her a legend. In 1972, Coppola was casting The Godfather. Diane showed up to audition, having never read the novel. She had no idea what part she was reading for. They cast her as Kay Adams, the woman who would become Michael Corleone's wife. Remarkably, Diane Keaton was cast before Al Pacino secured his role. Studio executives didn't want Pacino for Michael. They thought he was wrong for the part. Diane was already confirmed when they brought Pacino in for another audition. The studio finally relented and gave him the role that would define his career. The Godfather became one of the greatest films ever made. Diane brought quiet dignity to Kay Adams, A woman who watches the man she loves transform into someone unrecognizable. She returned for the sequel in 1974 and the third installment in 1990, finding new layers of heartbreak each time. But it was Annie Hall in 1977 that cemented her place in cinema history. Woody Allen didn't just cast her in the film, he wrote it for her. He built the character around her mannerisms, her speech patterns, her quirks. He even used her real birth name for the character. Annie Hall was Diane Keaton, and Diane Keaton was Annie Hall. The film won 4 Academy Awards, including Best Picture. Diane took home the Oscar for Best Actress. Overnight, she became more than a star. She became a cultural phenomenon. Women everywhere started copying her look. Oversized men's shirts, vests, and ties, bowler hats, and khakis. Fashion magazines declared her a style icon. She hadn't followed trends. She had created them. What audiences saw on screen wasn't performance. It was authenticity, and America couldn't get enough of it. The romance between Diane and Woody Allen eventually ended, as did their era of constant collaboration. But something remarkable happened. They remained close friends and continued to support each other's work. Their creative partnership had transformed into something more durable than romance. Mutual respect. Success brought scrutiny about her romantic life. The names attached to hers read like a Hollywood Hall of Fame: Woody Allen, Al Pacino, Warren Beatty. 3 relationships that captivated the tabloids. Each was intense. Each eventually ended, and after each ending, Diane Keaton made a choice. That baffled observers. She didn't marry any of them. She didn't marry anyone. In an industry obsessed with fairy tale endings, Diane Keaton remained single. She simply didn't want to make the sacrifices that marriage required. She valued her independence too much. Her career flourished through the decades that followed. Reds in 1981 earned her another Academy Award nomination. She played journalist Louise Bryant opposite Warren Beatty, bringing emotional complexity to a real historical figure. Then came roles that introduced her to new generations. Father of the Bride in 1991 cast her alongside Steve Martin as parents of a bride-to-be. The film was a massive hit, and its sequel followed. Suddenly, Diane Keaton was America's favorite movie mom. First Wives Club in 1996 reunited her with Bette Midler and Goldie Hawn, playing women getting revenge on husbands who had discarded them. The film became a cultural touchstone. Something's Gotta Give in 2003 paired her with Jack Nicholson in a romantic comedy that defied Hollywood's youth obsession. She earned her 4th Academy Award nomination at age 57. Most actresses her age were being offered grandmother parts. Diane Keaton was still playing the romantic lead. Perhaps her most radical choice had nothing to do with film. In 1996, at age 50, Diane Keaton adopted a daughter named Dexter. 5 years later, at 55, she adopted a son named Duke. She became a mother without a husband, without apology. Motherhood changed her profoundly. She once explained that before children, her worries had been selfish. Now she worried constantly about them, the way all parents do. The American Film Institute honored her with a Lifetime Achievement Award in 2017. Woody Allen presented it decades after their romance had ended. At the ceremony, instead of giving a speech, she sang a song she had performed in Annie Hall 40 years earlier. It was pure Diane Keaton, unexpected, authentic, utterly herself. She had proven something Hollywood still struggles to accept. A woman doesn't need a husband to be complete. A woman doesn't need to follow the traditional path to find happiness. Diane Keaton built an extraordinary life filled with children, friends, creative fulfillment, and purpose, all on her own terms. Her style remained iconic into her 70s. Fashion magazines continued to feature her. She showed that aging didn't mean becoming invisible. It meant evolving and continuing to define your own aesthetic. In recent years, she showed no signs of slowing down. Book Club in 2018 paired her with Jane Fonda, Candice Bergen, and Mary Steenburgen. She appeared in the Justin Bieber music video for Ghost in 2021. Her final film role came in Summer Camp. In 2024, alongside Kathy Bates and Alfre Woodard, she was 78 years old and still working. The spring and summer of 2025 passed like any other period in her life. Friends saw her at Jack Nicholson's birthday party, laughing and full of life. Nothing suggested what was coming. Then her health declined quickly. Even her closest friends didn't know how sick she had become. Her family kept her condition private, surrounding her with love in her final days. On the morning of October 11, 2025, paramedics received a call from her Los Angeles home. They transported her to St. John's Health Center in Santa Monica. She died that same day from bacterial pneumonia. The tributes arrived like a flood. Jane Fonda wrote that Diane had always been a spark of life and light, someone who giggled constantly and remained limitlessly creative. Bette Midler called her hilarious and completely original without any competitiveness. Al Pacino spoke of a partner and friend who brought him happiness and influenced his life's direction. Her family asked that anyone wishing to honor her memory considered donating to a local food bank or animal shelter causes she cared deeply about. AMC Theaters announced they would re-release Annie Hall and Something's Gotta Give for special one-week runs, a fitting tribute to films that captured everything that made her special. Diane Keaton is survived by her children, Dexter and Duke, who grew up with a mother who showed them that success doesn't require following someone else's script. She once dismissed the idea of legacy, thinking people would forget. She couldn't have been more wrong. Her films remain. Her fashion influence endures. Her example inspires. She showed women everywhere that you could be successful without conforming, that you could be a mother without a husband, that you could age without disappearing, that you could be quirky and nervous and different and still become a legend. For Academy Award nominations, 1 win, countless iconic performances. A fashion revolution that still influences designers today. A life lived entirely on her own terms until the very end. The world lost something irreplaceable. On October 11, 2025, a woman who made neurotic adorable, who turned men's clothing into high fashion, who proved that authenticity is the greatest gift you can offer the world. Goodbye, Diane Keaton. Your light endures.